Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I am Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Venom.
No.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're Venom.
Or we are Venom.
So grab your Venom.
Bite their heads off.
Because today we're bringing you...
Venom.
My God, it was so bad.
Holy crap. This is a zero. This is the zeroest zero.
Oh my God.
Lord Jesus.
Dare
Okay.
you fans.
This abomination, or shall I? Nope. Abomination, too nice of a word.
Don't dare give it that kind of credit.
This atrocity was released October 5th, 2018, 11 days ago, on a $100 million budget, and it's made $377.4 million worldwide so far. Somehow hasn't even hit China yet. Bet the Chinese are gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean they love the American movies.
It managed to get a 31% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an 88% audience rating, as well as a 35 on Metacritic. Just want to go ahead and get all that out of the way. It did set a record apparently for best October box office opening ever. It also set another record for being worst use of $100 million.
Well, I mean not as far as like the actual investors are concerned.
I don't really care what the investors think. I would have rather watched an hour and 45 minutes of Tom Hardy lighting $100 million on fire.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. This was so bad. Let's read some professional reviews, and then I actually have some yoke reviews, and then we'll get into sort of toothpaste and orange juice and more of our thoughts.
We'll get into what makes a Subaru.
Love.
Okay, so Richard Roper, you know that guy, of the Chicago Sun-Times, and also just being Richard Roper, says, a tone-deaf, uneven, and maddeningly dumb clunker that never settles on an identity all the way to the closing credits.
It's so bad.
He's so right.
He is so right. He hits it exactly right. I actually was able to find a positive review from Matthew Rose at Salon.com, which I don't know anything about Salon.com, but if I was looking for a film review, that wouldn't be what I typed into the search bar. But he says, certainly I'm in a minority when it comes to my fellow critics, but I liked Venom. Hell, if it wasn't for the sloppy and formulaic script, I might have even loved it, which how on earth?
Actually,
how on earth?
I love Kristen Lopez's review from Citizen Dame. She says, a waste of a perfectly good Tom Hardy.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. No, I do have a fan review. This is from This Is Morak. She says, I by no means think that Venom is a masterpiece. I did have a great time at the cinema. It was funny sometimes and had some scary/horror in it as well. I also thought of the fight choreography and the animations of Venom were cool. I think it has entertainment value even though I'm no movie expert and even though the characters were kind of flat. I'd give it a solid 5 out of 10. I do think Phantom Menace and Incredible Hulk are worse. I had a great time. Hope this isn't too long. I don't know if she liked it or not.
That's the way I feel about a lot of these Rotten Tomatoes positive reviews. Like, did you actually like the movie, or did you just not hate it?
Right. Like 5 out of 10, that's a failing grade.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but you can't review a movie like that, though.
I mean, you can.
Right, but giving it the high school scale isn't fair. And I agree. I mean, that's exactly what we do here on this show, because we don't really review twos.
Right.
Or what we would consider twos. But, like, yeah, I mean, you need, if you're going to use a 10-point scale, you might as well use the whole 10-point scale. And so, like, you can't start a fail at 6. Well, that's right. What Rotten Tomatoes does. But I've seen whatever. Do whatever you want.
Right. I have seen a lot of responses to. We were pretty publicly negative about this movie as soon as we were done watching it. Because I was really curious. I wanted to know if the fans are right or if the fans were just mad at the critics, and they were definitely just mad at the critics, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way 88% of people think this movie's good, which is the audience score.
Yeah, there's no possible way.
With an average rating of a 4.3 out of 5 or an 8.6 out of 10. Like, there's just literally no way that people who actually saw this movie believe that. Now, that being said, I've also seen a lot of replies to what I've said about the film, talking about the CG and how they thought that it was excellent. This was like a huge sticking point for me watching it, is that anytime the symbiote or whatever the proper pronunciation is that gets the internet not mad at me, which is weird that there is a proper pronunciation, you all are aware that it was in a comic that it was written. There isn't like a right way to pronounce it. It's a made up word. Anyway, anytime it was on screen, whether on Venom or on Riot or in the little test tubes going from person to person, I thought it looked absolutely terrible.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not.
I didn't think Venom looked good. I didn't think Riot looked good.
I didn't think the monsters particularly good. I did the last kind of first of all, we're just gonna go ahead and spoil the out of this movie. There's nothing we can talk about without spoiling it.
Well, I also, like, if you haven't seen it, I do not encourage you to go see it.
Right, it's a 0. Like, please don't see it. Stop giving them money. Stop giving them money. Also, symbiosis is a word.
Yes, I know that.
Okay, but there's no right way to pronounce symbiote. because symbiosis is a word and symbiotic is a word, and those are
Right.
both pronounced differently from the same root. So you're fine on that.
Right.
I just
Oh,
want
I
to make
know.
it.
I just know that there was when the first trailer came out, they had to re-record some of the audio for the film because there was such fan backlash over the way they pronounced the word.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like the kind of thing that would get it rated an 88% with fans. That sounds like this kind of movie.
Yeah.
Because here's who I really think is rating it that 88%. Is people who went to see it and then were like, I need to defend this movie because everybody's being mean to it. All the other fans were just like, this is bad. I'm not even going to bother reviewing this. Like, this is just a waste of my time.
Here's what's interesting to me. A lot of films don't get 250 professional critic reviews. That's a lot of professional critics. Like, there's not a ton of those people out there. You and I have been doing this for a long time. We're not professional critics.
Right.
Like it takes some serious criteria to get to that point. 173 of them gave it rotten scores. And of the fresh ones that I've read, they're very lukewarm. Now, on the flip side of that, there are 28,000 audience scores. Have you ever audience scored a movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
No.
Here's what I think happened. I think the critics came out and said it's 31%. And then the moment it was in theaters, without even seeing it, because I can do it right now and give it a 1 and log in with Facebook, and it'll log that score forever.
Right.
I think people just logged in.
28,000 is a lot,
Yeah, that's a ton.
I think.
I'm going to give it half a star, not share on Facebook.
So yeah, Venom's been out for 2 weeks. It has 28,000. Infinity War has 49,000 reviews.
And Infinity War is awesome.
Yeah, it's also been out for a while now, 6 whole months.
Right.
Like, it's already on DVD.
Blu-ray, digital.
Whatever,
the whole
it's
kit
out.
caboodle.
You can get it in your home.
So people did ask for a quick synopsis of the story. I want to run that down real quick.
Well, let's do our other stuff first and then get in the movie.
Okay. Toothpaste and orange juice?
Toothpaste and orange juice. You got one?
I do, and you might tell me I'm not allowed to say it.
Do you want to go first in case that your thing is terrible?
No. I know what it is, and it's not like terrible. We'll just go through the process. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Drive-thrus. You can't say Venom.
I can say Venom. Here's why, Ethan, because it wasn't just Venom being bad that bothered me. It was that after I left Venom, I was in such a bad mood. Like, I felt like I wanted to go to the manager at the movie theater and demand my money back. I wanted to, like, just go home and like, sit angrily in a corner. I was so mad that I had to go watch this crappy movie.
That's weird. I actually had the exact same thought because we got in an argument after this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's
was
the
like-
movie's fault.
I agree. I definitely think it is, because I was like, this was painfully bad.
So this was the first movie that Ty and I had gone to see together in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, at the theaters.
Yeah.
And it was just terrible. Like, it was a miserable experience.
We kept like looking over at each other like, what on earth? Venom's lines? What? Whatever. We'll get into that as
Yeah.
we get back into the show. But it was a frustratingly bad experience. I felt defeated leaving the movie. I really did.
I did too, yeah.
Anyway, you said drive-throughs.
I
Tell
said
me more about
drive-thrus,
those.
man. Like, I can't remember. I think it's one of the what are the Mel Gibson movies? Lethal Weapon, the one where we make the joke about going on 3. Yeah, where Joe Pesci says in that movie, "I don't go to the drive-thru because they always you in the drive-thru." And I don't think there's ever been a more true quote.
I don't think any restaurant has ever gotten my order wrong.
Really? I just hate the whole drive-thru experience. I really do. Like, I get that I get why I do it. It's convenient, and like, especially if it's like raining, I'm gonna go in the store. But like today, so I left the dentist office, and I've been listening to Turtles All the Way Down, and that has just made me want like a bad hamburger.
Yeah, don't you dare go to Applebee's though.
The Applebee's closed.
I know. We waged war and we won.
Yeah. But I went to Wendy's, right? Applebee's doesn't have a drive-thru.
I know.
I don't know if you know this about Applebee's. They definitely could, because all they do is microwave stuff. But so I went to Wendy's, and just like, it's a nice Wendy's that we have there.
It is.
They just rebuilt it not that long ago, and somehow the drive-thru thing is already broken.
Wait a minute. Did they tell you this happened to me at this exact Wendy's last week?
What did they tell
This
you?
is the fun fact. I've only eaten out that I've paid for once this entire month, with the exception of food trucks at a festival, which I'm not going to give up food trucks at a festival. How dare you suggest that? Anyway, I went to this Wendy's last week. There was a huge line at the drive-thru. I see people getting their food. I pull up, and the lady gets on the drive-thru thing, and she goes, our registers are down in the drive-thru. You're going to have to come inside to order your food. During a freaking like monsoon, and I'm late for a job interview, I still went in and got my 4 for $4. No regrets. I got bacon, egg, and cheese plain because I was going in for a job interview and I wanted to make sure nothing got on my suit.
Right.
And that was going to be the easiest way to cover that problem. But Yeah, I was like, are you kidding? What do you mean the drive-thru's down? I'm watching people drive through and get their food.
So this was not the problem, right? So I rolled up to the drive-thru and I could see on the little screen, just like the Windows blue screen of death, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to have to confirm my order manually. Anyway, Wendy's is an easy thing for me. I order the same thing. If I'm not getting a 4 for $4, I just get a number 4 combo, no mayonnaise.
What's the number 4?
Baconator.
Baconator. Is that the like small Baconator or the giant Baconator? It's a small one, right?
No, it's the regular.
1, 2, and 3 are Carl, and then 4, 5, and 6 are Baconator, right?
Carl.
Isn't that what you get at? No, Dave. Dave's doubles.
Yeah.
It's Dave's single, Dave's double, Dave's
4
triple.
is the Baconator and 5 is the son of Baconator.
Is it bigger or smaller?
The son of Baconator is smaller.
Interesting.
It's like a Baconator's that's the size of like a double stack instead of like a normal Wendy's burger.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so I just got the regular Baconator, right? It was simple. But like I roll up to this Wendy's and I just hear, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I get back, and I was just like, I don't even know what to do. That's not English. It sounded like it was coming out of like a phone speaker that was 100 feet away from me.
Wah.
Yeah, I was like, this is Charlie Brown. Somebody's just talking to me through a trombone.
Right.
And so I just ordered, right? Like, because I didn't know what else to do. So I was like stuck in this line. So I just ordered. And finally, I guess it kind of starts working because I hear 7:35. And I was like, okay. Sure.
Is that the right price for a number 4 combo without mayo?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's not, turns out, because what I got was like an Asiago chicken thing.
That's number 8.
Is it? Are you looking at the Wendy's menu?
Asiago Ranch Chicken Club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I got that, but it wasn't what I wanted. Like, normally I'd be like, okay, whatever, fine. I want a burger. And so I went inside, right? And I was just like, hey, like, I ordered a Baconator, and I got an Asiago just chicken thing. I think I got somebody else's order. And she was like, you're in the red Mazda, right? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, no, you ordered an Asiago chicken thing. And I was like, no, I didn't. At no point does Asiago Ranch chicken sandwich sound like Baconator. Number 4, no mayonnaise is what I said. That's what the numbers are for. That's the whole point.
Right, yeah. Number 4, no mayo. You get your Baconator without mayo? You know mayo's a god's condiment.
I get everything without mayonnaise. Mayonnaise belongs nowhere near sandwiches, especially not hamburgers. This is the reason. Okay, this is the reason I hate Burger King. Okay, this is what Burger King has done to me.
You know what the problem with Burger King is? That the Whopper doesn't have cheese on it.
No, the problem with Burger King is that the Whopper doesn't have cheese and it does have mayonnaise.
The Whopper doesn't have cheese. It's a burger, Ethan.
Right.
The monarch of burgers.
It comes without cheese, but with mayonnaise. Tell me how that's okay in America. This is America. Everything I eat is supposed to make me gain 500 pounds, right? That means I want my Whopper with cheese on it.
You probably want it with mayo then also.
No, I don't want. You're missing the point. If we're gonna be America, let's go all in on it.
You're talking about doubling down because KFC
No, I do
used
not
to
want to
double
down. Jesus Christ. I had one. I thought I was going to die.
I mean, it's just 2 pieces of fried chicken with some bacon and cheese.
It's like 6 inches tall.
I mean, sure, but
I couldn't even get my mouth around the thing.
I thought you wanted to die.
I don't want to die. Oh my God. I don't want to die. I'm making an example. It's called a hyperbole. Look it up. It's spelled like hyperbole.
Like hypermole.
Yeah, but with a B.
Did you know that if you have moles, you multiply, but if you need moles, you divide?
I did.
That is all I remembered from chemistry class.
I remember the word stoichiometry.
I remember the word stoichiometry. I remember that Tom Hudson and Sarah Gordon they acted up a lot.
Yeah, hold on.
I remember Tom Hudson dressed as Anchorman. Ron Burgundy.
These are my keys, right? From
Yeah.
like the keys I've had for a long time, right? And this tiny little key was given to me by Tom Hudson, who put it in my hand and said, "That's the key to Dick Cheney's broken heart. Keep it safe." In chemistry class.
You've had it all these years?
I still have it, yeah. I also have my senior mailroom key.
It's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. That's stoichiometry. That's if you need moles divide.
That's Avogadro's number.
Sure.
It is.
Do moles like avogadros?
Yes.
A little guacamole?
Yes. Moles love avocados.
There we go. And we're all back to square one. Okay.
Anyway, I hate the drive-thru. That long story short, you know why? The other reason is because we're supposed to be saving just one more thing on drive-thrus, right? We're supposed to be saving turtles, right? Supposed to be saving the sea turtles. No straws, right? Should never get a straw, right? Taco Bell is out here giving you straws when you don't even get a drink.
I mean, that happens.
I've ordered plenty of times at Taco Bell and not even gotten a drink, and there's like 3 straws in the bag. I'm like, this is why the sea turtles die. It's Taco Bell's fault.
I think it's because instead of straws, we're selling like steel straws and wrapping them in plastic anyway.
Yeah, and you gotta buy the steel straws like on the internet, and they come in like a box with like packing peanuts.
Right. Wait a minute. How is this better?
Anyway, let's talk about this movie.
I don't know if you can call it that. I don't know if we saw the whole movie, Ethan. Because let me give you some stats.
How could we have possibly stayed any longer?
Well, I was wrong. Emily was talking to me. She said, you texted me before 2 hours and 20 minutes were up. And I was like, that's because the movie's not 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And whatever statistics she had, she was firm on. But apparently, correctly, it was 112 minutes. There's no narrative, really. So it's about this character,
Oh, yeah, we need
Eddie
to run
Brock.
down the story. There isn't one.
Yeah, so it's about this character, Eddie Brock. When we meet him, he runs like a no network, but also on a network news story. I don't know. It seemed very disconnected from what would pass as like a news channel these days.
I still don't see how you don't see this.
No, I get it. He runs like Nightline, but it's the Brock Report.
Right.
Right, but I mean, like, I just felt like if you're gonna make him like young and relatable and cool and stuff, I would have put him on YouTube. It's just how I would have done it.
He can't get fired from YouTube, though.
No, but I mean, he can have a manager.
Right, but he can't get...
Or he could pose with a corpse or something.
Right, but if he's on YouTube, first of all, he's not going to get an interview with Carlton Drake. Second of all, he's not going to get fired because he gets an interview with Carlton Drake.
I also don't really get why he gets fired. So he has like a network, I don't know, Sony News Network job where he's like this amazing investigative reporter. Apparently he's like taken down a bunch of big wigs. They allude to that, but they don't show any evidence of that ever actually happening, because the only interview we ever see him actually get, he like uses information from a source that obviously he couldn't use.
Well, there's that whole disorienting montage where it like...
Oh my God.
That was so hard to watch.
I got a headache when that started.
Yeah, there's all a bunch of Tom Hardys talking over each other, and like it's all like side-scrolling by, but also like flipping over on top of each other.
I mean, it looked like it was made in iMovie.
Yeah, pretty much. Like badly in iMovie.
Yeah. Do you remember Hulk 2003?
Vaguely.
2002? That movie was shot in this way, and it's supposed to look like a comic book, is what they're going for.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It was extremely disorienting. It was extremely disorienting. It was very hard to watch.
It was not good.
And then, so he does this thing where he gets an interview with this Elon Musk type character, Carlton Drake. Or Carlton. And he goes in, and it's supposed to be like a puff piece about like, you know, just amping this dude's image, and then he gives back to the network or whatever. And instead he goes in there, his girlfriend or his fiance is a
lawyer,
an attorney, and she's defending Carlton Drake. And he goes through her computer and he finds evidence that he's like doing tests that are killing people, like experimenting on humans, and it's not working. So he goes in, and instead of doing this puff piece, he's like confronting him on camera about, you know, how he's killing people. And then that causes him to lose his job and become this like defunct nobody reporter. And then like everything in his life falls apart because he stole his girlfriend's case. And then nothing really happens after that. Do you want to pick it up from there?
I don't really know how.
It just kind of falls apart after that.
Right. It's kind of like Transformers, but a lot worse.
Yeah. Like then somehow he gets Venom on him. Like all the while this is happening, they're going over the narrative of how the symbiotes work.
Right.
And you're seeing Carlton Drake's perspective where he's testing these aliens that came from outer space that need to like bond with people.
Right, and he's testing them on like homeless people, and that bothers Eddie. And Eddie goes and he breaks in with friggin' Mona Lisa Saperstein from Parks and Rec. They break into the Drake laboratory, and Eddie sees this homeless person that he knows, and you know, he busts down the door, and then she attacks him because she's, you know,
very clearly infected.
Right, very clearly infected with the symbiote that's dying, because she's not a perfect match. And it turns out Eddie is a perfect match, and he was like chosen, I guess that's what they said. Anyway, the symbiote goes into him, and then everything bad happens to him, and he ends up fighting another symbiote, because why wouldn't there be a second one? And it's really just, as soon as Venom comes into the picture, the whole thing's just a mess.
It is such a mess. I will say there was a redeeming scene in the movie, Ethan.
Which one?
There was one scene where I was actually like having fun and enjoying it, and it was the car chase right before we get full Venom, where he's on the bike.
Right, where Venom's driving the bike. Yeah, that was a good scene. Well shot. Chase scene.
That was the only redeeming thing. And all the cars are like, what were they? They were Lincolns?
Something nice.
They were really, really nice chase cars.
Yeah.
And they just destroyed a ton of them. And then we get full Venom, and he starts saying, like, anytime Venom talked in the whole movie, his lines sounded like they were written by like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, like he calls Eddie a pussy.
Yeah, and he's like, we'd be a turd in the wind.
Yeah, and it's real dumb. Also, it was overmixed.
What do you mean?
Like, Venom was way too loud.
Yeah.
And I get what they were going for. They're like, oh, it's supposed to sound like Venom is your head, too. Really, I was just like, this voiceover is really loud.
Yeah, it was not good.
It doesn't have a plot, man. It's just...
And also, Riz Ahmed, who plays Carlton Drake, not a compelling villain. Like, his reason, like, he's just strictly evil. There is no world where you would agree with this guy's motives.
Right. Like, he's just testing this. He's afraid that the world is going to end. That we're going to run out of resources in the world, and we're going to need to take habitat somewhere else. And he sees the symbiotes as a way to do that, and so he's just like, well, it's got to work on humans. We got to figure out how to make it work on humans.
But almost immediately, Riot is like, oh, and like...
Well, he doesn't immediately get Riot in his head. And then once Riot's in his head, he just gives into it.
Did you like... So, something that happens more than once in the movie that I thought was downright stupid. I was like, listen, you can do this like 7 or 8 movies down the line if this is a real good thing. But I didn't like when the symbiotes would like detach themselves as like a tail and look at them and they would have like a conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, what on earth is this? You've got that cool shot of half Tom Hardy, half Venom face.
Which is opposite of the shot that appears on the movie poster, or one of the movie posters.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Which is a weird thing to do. But anyway. Yeah, at the end, when Tom Hardy, peels half the face off and it's half him and half Venom, and he's just like, we are Venom. That was cool, but yeah, I didn't like the tail things. It was kind of weird.
I didn't like... Tom Hardy's whole character is like worse than T'Challa in any of his roles. Like, he just seemed drunk and sweaty the whole time.
Yeah.
Even before he was Venom.
Right, he seemed like he was just drunk and being weird the whole time.
Right. And, like, I never got the vibe that he was actually a successful investigative reporter. Like, he's sitting there asking questions and writing down on, like, a tiny notepad. He didn't look like a reporter.
No, he seems like he's going through drug withdrawal the entire time.
Yeah. And maybe that's what he was supposed to look like after he got infected with Venom. But, like, even after he, like, comes to terms with that, up until, like, the very last scene in the movie, he just looks like crap.
Right. And
also, Venom seems extremely defeatable.
Yeah, fire and noise.
They gave us exposition. Like, they would be like, oh, he's allergic to fire and noise, and then later they would be like, just a reminder, I don't know if you forgot, noise hurts Venom.
Yeah,
it hurts all.
They would expose. Well, the whole thing is they did the exposition for the symbiotes well, and then they redid it again poorly 2 minutes later.
Oh, and they're like, it has to be a perfect match. If it's not a perfect match, it won't work. Except Venom can just also be matched with the girl, and
Carlton Drake just happens to be a match for Riot.
But everybody else can also be a match with Riot because he just travels from person to person throughout the movie.
Also, why are they called Venom and Riot? How do they know English?
I don't know. Tom Hardy didn't sound like he spoke English in this movie.
That accent was terrible.
Is he not American?
Tom Hardy's not American, no.
Man, he could not do it.
No. He's done it before.
But not here.
No, not here. He's just like, I'm Eddie Brock, I'm from New Jersey. Like, we're all good, man. It's like we're living in San Francisco and I'm Eddie Brock.
Oh, and the fact that Eddie Brock lives in the Full House houses.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
He's Eddie Brock, man. I don't know what it's Eddie Brock.
Yeah, well, if you're a reporter, you have a neutral Midwestern voice.
Not if you're on the Brock Report.
The Brock Report. I'm Eddie Brock. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. Like, nothing about it was awesome. It was also I don't like this when I get why they do it in low budget movies. It's because it's easier to see and there's less work to do. But like, this is the same problem that Incredible Hulk has, is that all of the action scenes are in the dark.
The whole movie was in the dark.
Yeah, and I get why they do it. It's so that like you don't need to animate it as well because it's not lit as well, and our eyes are just trained to, when we see things on camera that are dark, they just forgive more. But it's just so bad.
Right, which is what's so great about the MCU, is that all the big huge fights happen in broad daylight in the middle of New York.
Yeah, or in the middle of Wakanda.
Right. Yeah, it was all in dark. But I guess it's a villain movie. It's not a superhero movie.
Venom's motivations don't make any sense at all.
Venom flip-flops the whole time.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm Venom. We must get on spaceship and go to Venomland.
Venomland.
And then Venom's like, I've decided that I like you. You are pure of heart. Like, what?
Let me talk to you, Eddie. In my planet, I'm kind of a loser, like you.
Eddie doesn't seem like a loser. I feel like Eddie having one bad story wouldn't make him a loser. I feel like it's not even a big enough deal for...
Like the fact that the freaking symbiote is sitting there arguing with him about like, oh, well, you're a loser and I'm a loser, so we can't go back to my planet.
Right. We gotta stay here on your planet. Do you think it's okay for studios to make movies that are this bad?
No. You know this about me.
I do know this about you. But like...
I think that Sony should be banned from making another movie for an entire year.
Because they put this out?
Yeah. I firmly believe that we, as Americans especially, need to have a come to Jesus moment about what movies we're gonna make.
I don't think it's gonna happen, Ethan.
It's driving me nuts, man.
Stuff like this is gonna keep happening. I mean, not this. This is exceptionally
Stuff
bad.
like this is gonna keep happening.
I mean, this was like, so there's some comparisons to other films I want to talk about. Is this better or worse than The Incredible Hulk 2008?
It's worse.
I agree.
It's the same movie, but not as good. Less well told, less developed.
Yeah, no, it is the exact same movie. It's like, even down to the parallels in the narrative, where it's like, oh, there's Edward Norton and Blonsky, and they're both the Hulk.
Right. You got Hulk and big scary gray Hulk.
Right.
And in this one,
not Gray Hulk.
In this
but
one,
yeah.
But he's gray.
Right.
He's not Gray Hulk, but he is gray.
Gray Hulk is in it, but we're never gonna see Mr. Blue again.
Yeah. And this one is just, well, there's Venom, and then there's big scary gray Venom.
Yeah. I didn't like, I also felt like if you're gonna do the symbiote fights another symbiote for the first outing, don't pick two that can be black.
What do you mean?
I felt like they were different looking enough that it wasn't too much of a problem, but I would have gone with like Venom is black and he fights Carnage in the first one, who is very clearly red.
They intentionally saved Carnage for the sequel.
Yeah, because now they get to make it.
That pisses me off so much.
Yeah, because they were like, well, this didn't go well.
Yeah. God. Well,
Let's tease Woody freaking Harrelson.
Riot was gray.
Whatever. Gray is not different enough from black for me to be able to tell that it's a different character.
I still feel like Venom looks blue.
So the way that Venom is shot, and this actually was a cool thing that they did, is, and you can see it if you look up like Google image. I'm going to look it up, of course, before I just do this. But the way that Venom was drawn originally was such that I think he was hit from blue light from one side and red light from another, like always, when he was animated and drawn.
Gotcha.
So if you watch the movie, like this clip right here, where he's got the tongue out, there's blue light hitting him on the left and red light hitting him on the right, which gives him this sort of like unclear color thing.
Yeah.
But he's black.
I mean, I could see that, but I was just constantly struck by how navy blue he looked. And I guess that's part of that is from the comics of like, how do you draw highlights on black?
Right.
And like, you can clearly see, why isn't Skype opening? Come on, Skype. I'm trying to send you a picture. Yeah, you can clearly see in a picture like this, like the highlights are blue, like bright blue.
Yeah, they are.
And that's what sticks in my head.
I can get that. I felt we did receive a question on Instagram when we talked about this, asking if this movie would have been better if Spider-Man was in it. I don't know like where that would have worked. Like, I get that like Venom and Spider-Man go together because of Spider-Man 3 and because of like their comic history, and Venom was introduced in a Spider-Man comic. But like the Spider-Man movies are fine without the Fantastic Four in them, and Spider-Man was made famous because of his like feud with the Human Torch.
Right.
Like, I don't see any need whatsoever for Spider-Man to be in this.
He will be.
Well, not Tom Holland.
No. But again, this is why I don't like the Spider-Verse thing.
Well, they don't have right. They can't make Spider-Man movies.
No, so they shouldn't.
Right.
They shouldn't be making Spider-Verse.
Like the animated film?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because they don't have rights. They can't make Spider-Man movies. And like this happens.
Yeah, this is bad.
This is part of Spider-Verse.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah. Well, it had that the teaser at the end.
Oh, I don't think that those are part of each other, though.
It is, though. I read several different things saying that last night.
That Tom Hardy's Venom is part of
Into the Spider-Verse, yeah.
That would be bad.
That it's like that's the universe that he exists in.
Well, the idea with the Spider-Verse is that all universes exist. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't think you will because Kevin Feige wouldn't allow it, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Tom Holland made a cameo in it.
All it's doing is creating problems.
Marvel stud 10s, but...
Yeah, I don't think Marvel Studios needs help from a box like this.
No, this is bad. Was this better than Fantastic Four with Miles Teller?
Oh, God. Fan Four Stick?
Yeah.
I'll
be honest, Ethan.
I don't remember.
It is better.
Is it? It can't be.
It is.
I don't know.
I won't ask you to watch it again.
I fell asleep. Fantastic Four.
With Miles Teller?
Yeah. And Michael B. Jordan.
This isn't as good as Fantastic Four 2005 with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans.
No. Well, it's not better than Daredevil. It's not better than Elektra. It's not better than any of the old Marvel movies.
Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan got a 9%.
It's terrible. I mean, they're both terrible. This is like Justice League is almost as bad.
I think Justice League was better than this.
Barely.
I mean, the way that like Superman just shows up and beats the crap out of Steppenwolf, and that's like the end of the movie, is like, I don't know why all the rest of these characters were even here.
I would rank Justice League. I would also rank Justice League below Phantom Menace.
It was bad. There's no doubt about that. Like, all the conflict.
Like, that's what this felt like. This felt like a bad DCEU movie.
This is exactly what this felt like. It was like, where's Batfleck?
No, Batman vs Superman was better than this.
Where's Ezra Miller?
I don't hate Batman vs Superman as much as most people did.
Batman vs Superman wasn't that bad.
It had
Suicide Squad was better than this.
Yeah, it was a lot better than this. Suicide Squad also wasn't that bad.
Cara Delevingne.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't
worse than Phantom Menace. It's in that like bottom of the barrel disgust.
Suicide Squad had better storytelling than Phantom Menace, but
Yeah, but it was not. I don't think it was better. I mean, it doesn't have any Jedi in it.
no, it does have Margot Robbie.
Yes, but I mean, like The Big Short is like up there in the other end of the conversation.
I'm saying Margot Robbie is a plus.
Yeah, but like Michael B. Jordan, is that a winner or a loser?
When I hated Michael B. Jordan for a long time after Fantastic Four, after Fantastic.
Did you hate him in Chronicle? Did you hate him in Fruitvale Station?
I've not seen Fruitvale Station, and I have not seen Chronicle in a long time, but I don't think I realized that was him until right now.
I didn't either, but I love Chronicle.
I have not seen Fruitvale Station. I've been told it's really good. It's Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. It can't be that bad.
No, those two work well together.
Right, but I think the first Michael B. Jordan movie I saw after Fantastic Four was
Black Panther.
Yeah, because I waited till after I saw Black Panther to see Creed.
Was Creed good? I haven't seen it.
Creed was really good. Creed
looks
was. Creed, I really hesitate to say that Creed was better than Rocky just because Rocky is actually that good. But like
Rocky's also Rocky.
But like Creed was the best Rocky movie with the possible exception of the first one.
See, now that's a movie, PG-13, that fans weren't like, I don't know why it's not rated R. It'd be so much better if it was rated R. That's what a lot of people said about Venom. Would an R rating have improved this movie?
No, because they would have done it wrong.
Deadpool 2, that had an R rating. Is Deadpool 2 better than Venom?
Deadpool 2 is better than Venom.
Yeah, I think by a long shot.
If you let the guy who wrote Deadpool 2 write the script for this, it would have been better and given it the R rating.
2?
I don't know, but like the dialogue would have been improved.
Yeah, the dialogue here.
If you let Venom be more like Deadpool and just be like adult but vulgar,
instead of written by like a 10-year-old.
right? Because that's my thing is if you're gonna go and have the character like, because there is a lot of comparison to write between Venom and Deadpool because they're both just.
Right.
That like the like 13-year-old version of swearing is so cringy to me in this movie.
I would agree.
When he says stuff like, "Oh, you're like a turd in the wind." Like if you let it have the R rating, that line doesn't exist.
Right. There's also like a lot of people talk about the like eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time. Comes from like directly from the comics, and they're like, that's so cool, I can't believe they took that line directly from the comics. And I agree with you, that is cool that they took a line literally directly from the comics, and it's kind of like an out there line, but it's a dumb line.
Yeah,
like it was bad in the comics, it's bad here.
Yeah, pancreas is an uncomfortable word to talk about with food.
Also, like biting people's heads off is like, that wasn't funny to me. I wasn't like, oh ha ha ha, you decapitate people, that's hilarious. It was like, you are just glossing over the fact that you just murdered a few people.
I did. The one time I almost laughed at it was when he was like, let's bite their heads off and pile their bodies in the corner. And Eddie was like, why would we do that? And Venom was like, pile of heads, pile of bodies. Like, obviously.
Also, how does that work when Venom bites somebody's head off? Where does it go?
I think it's fuel in the tank. I think Venom just kind of like absorbs it. It does not go into Eddie's stomach.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That SWAT team seemed to figure out Venom's weakness pretty quick, where they were like, oh, the flashbang grenades work. And then what frustrated me was that like the flashbang grenades were working, and then they were like, no, we're just not going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Also, how did Venom survive at the end? He was like, fire is my weakness. I get killed by fire.
Yeah, I have no idea.
He's burned alive.
And he's still in Eddie's head.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I really don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I was asking that the whole time.
I also was not even a little bit concerned that Venom died. I was like, yeah, okay. We'll wrap this story up real quick. Eddie Brock has a weird few days.
I had forgotten that there were sequels like planned and like done essentially. And so I was like, oh man, are we really gonna get out of here without like a sequel? Without like a hint at a sequel? Like Venom's just dead, it's over. I thought that for a brief second and I was excited.
I knew that Carnage was a thing. I had seen those spoilers.
I had not. I still maintain the first trailer for this movie looked good. Because Venom wasn't in it at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this article where I got the picture of Venom. It's titled "New Venom Trailer Has Venom in It," and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, the first one didn't have Venom in it at all, and I was like, "This is cool. It's just about Eddie being a psychopath."
And then they animated Venom. I have heard that scream of the guy when he gets licked by Venom so many times from the trailer.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, me too. It's awful.
Eddie Brock's afraid of heights. What's that?
I don't know. It never got played out.
What a weird, bad movie. I don't want to just say it's bad because it's bad. Have we given like legitimate reasons why it's not good?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Also, New Mutants is happening.
Oh, that's a movie?
It got delayed for over a year. It's now set to release August 2019. After they played trailers for months.
There was trailers?
For months. Yeah, you've seen the trailer. It's got the Wall by Pink Floyd in it.
I don't think I've seen this trailer.
And the guy like puts his hand on the inside of the washing machine and it explodes. It's like a horror movie.
Oh man, people talking about this movie having horror elements. They're lying. This movie's not scary at all.
It would have been better.
Yeah, there was
a
no
horror movie. And that's what I thought it was going to be from the first trailer. I thought we were going to get like a Marvel horror movie.
There's not. There were no horror elements at all.
No, it was not scary at all. I think you summed it up perfectly. When right at the beginning and the movie started and that kid next to us clapped and you looked over and said, I think that kid and I are going to have different opinions about this movie.
I did go into it with low expectations. I expected it to be bad, and I didn't want to soil my negative review by saying that like it was awful beforehand, or like, here's a comparison that I truly believe in. I think Topher Grace's Venom was better than this Venom.
Yeah, but like, I'm not willing to forgive Topher Grace's Venom because
no,
this
neither.
movie
I
was
don't.
bad.
That doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean it's good.
Like Spider-Man 3 does not deserve the Rotten Tomatoes score it has either.
Do you think it's worse?
Yes.
I would need to revisit the whole Raimi series, and I'm excited to do that when we do that on Bacon and Eggs this Webuary.
Spider-Man 3 has a 63% Rotten Tomatoes score.
You go, Sam Raimi.
It's a 40% movie at best. Granted,
I'm
this
excited to revisit it.
is a 6.
This is bad.
If Fantastic Four is a 9, this is a 6.
No, Fantastic Four was worse than this.
Yeah, but it was more fun.
It wasn't.
It was.
No, I'm gonna make you revisit it.
I'm not gonna revisit it.
You never did your punishment of Hoodie Allen. So
I'm still gonna
now
do
you
it.
have to watch.
Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not watching Fan Four Stick. I just haven't had an opportunity.
I've got some listener questions about Venom. I posted this on
Okay,
Instagram.
well, let's talk about
yesterday.
some Venom.
This one is just a factual question. Should I be worried about venomous animals or poisonous animals? It's poisonous if it bites you. It's venomous if you bite it, right? No. Backwards.
It's poisonous if you bite it. It's venomous if it bites you. Okay, so let's talk about this. Don't eat animals that you don't know what they are.
Don't eat living animals.
Yeah, that too. But like,
right.
Don't eat animals if you don't know what they are. Okay, if it's like a frog, like there are very poisonous frogs, right? But if you eat the frog, you die. Don't eat frog. Like simple, pretty easy to avoid that. On the topic of venomous animals, that's a big problem. We live in an area where like rattlesnakes.
Copperhead snakes.
No, not copperheads. If you get bit by a copperhead, like go to the hospital, but you're probably not going to die.
I think you are.
A copperhead? No.
Yeah.
No. Hang on. Copperhead bites are rarely the cause of snake bite fatalities. When injected, the venom will cause severe damage to the local tissue, but can pave the road for serious secondary infection. Copperhead venom can be fatal, but often the snake injects very little of its poison when it bites a human. So, like, don't actively try to get bitten by a copperhead, and if you do, like, go to the doctor. Like, go to the emergency room. They'll fix it. But, like, we live in an area, especially those of you that live near us, we live in an area that has lots of rattlesnakes. People don't know this. They think about the desert when they think about rattlesnakes. But I remember specifically watching an episode of Crocodile Hunter, right? Steve Irwin. And he's got a rattlesnake in his hand. He's like, this is a rattlesnake. It's one of the most deadly snakes in the whole world. I'm going to take you now to a place where there are more rattlesnakes than anywhere. And it put up like a map of where Steve Irwin was going, and it was pretty much like my backyard on the map.
It's weird. I used to live in your backyard,
It was like
basically.
the Virginia area of the Blue Ridge Parkway right here where we live. Siren was like, there's more rattlesnakes in this area than anywhere else in the world. I was like, that's terrifying.
Your Australian accent sort of fell apart there.
I don't know how to do Australian. It's hard.
It is hard.
That was Boston.
It might have been.
I just watched The Departed. That was Boston. He's a good cop.
There's a bunch of...
He comes from a family of good cops.
Here's a good question, though. Do you think Tom Hardy was too much of a nice guy for the role? Maybe I've got the wrong impression here. I don't think of Tom Hardy as a nice guy.
I think Tom Hardy forgot to act.
I think he forgot to play character. Yeah.
I think Tom Hardy was just like, I'm concerned about Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy might be like on something.
He just didn't play the part at all.
It just seemed like, like this is the moment in the actor's career where, you know, the Wikipedia article switches from career history to like sudden decline. Like you got to move into that next section that's like disappearance from acting and alcoholism.
Right. Fury Road, I actually haven't seen, but I understand was rad.
Mad Max Fury Road?
Yeah.
That was an excellent movie.
Yeah. So I believe he's got the chops. Dark Knight Rises was rad.
I love Tom Hardy.
I understand he plays rather crazy people in those films. I've seen Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Tom Hardy's crazy. I think that Tom Hardy just didn't do a very good job with this movie. But, like, he was rad in Inception. He was rad in The Dark Knight Rises. Fury Road was awesome. Bronson is a weird movie, but he did a good job with that. He's a good actor, just not in this movie. I don't think he was too much of a nice guy. I think that this was a bad part for him.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anybody, I mean, nobody could have saved this script, but is there anybody that comes to mind that could have done this better?
Early 2000s Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Like if instead of being turned into God, Bruce Almighty was about being turned into Venom.
It's just the mask.
It's just, I know, but the reporter and Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, but this
that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm Eddie Brock.
This is literally just the mask. I don't know, modern actors, I'm trying to think. I'm not sure who could have done it. Nobody could have saved the script is the thing.
No, or the direction or
any of it.
Yeah.
It's not Tom it's not entirely Tom Hardy's fault. But usually like you can tell that like it's an actor doing the best they can with a bad script.
But he was not doing
and that is just not the case here. It's like I think here's what it felt like to me is that he made this character for the Revenant, right? And then was just like, he got into this movie and was just like, I remember how to do that character. I'm just going to do the same thing.
Was he in there, Revenant?
Yeah. He was like the villain.
He was the bear?
No, he was the bad guy.
Oh.
But he's got the same stupid accent going on.
Oh, the accent's so bad.
But he pulls it off in The Revenant, but I feel like he was just, they called him in last minute like, hey, Tom, can you shoot this movie? And he was like, yeah, I got a character already. We're good.
We're good to go.
I don't know. What do you think? Is there an actor that comes to mind?
I don't know. It's tough with these superhero type roles. I think Tom Hardy, honestly, I hope that DC or Marvel Stud Tens picks him up and puts him in a better role. Same with Woody Harrelson.
I think Woody Harrelson has a shot at doing just fine as Carnage. And I think that if that movie comes out and turns out to be terrible, I think that you will be able to look at it as Woody Harrelson doing the best he can with a bad script.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you rather have him as like J. Jonah Jameson or something?
Yeah. Well, you can't. DC can't pick up Tom Hardy, especially not for a villain.
Why? Oh,
because he was Bane.
Yeah. I think he's going to bounce around the superhero scene a little bit.
Who would you want him to play on the Marvel side of things?
Tom Hardy?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of villains that haven't been cast. I don't know. He could be like Moon Knight or something like that.
Who?
Or not villains, heroes. Heck, he could just...
Oh, I think you could make him a villain. I don't think that'd be a problem.
Let me pull up some... Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Hardy as the new Wolverine.
Yeah,
I've seen moves for him as Wolverine. I've also seen moves for Dan Radcliffe as Wolverine, which I would be all about.
Weird flex, but okay.
Well, he's short.
Wolverine's short?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like a thing.
Okay.
There's a bunch of characters I think he could do. Let me see. I think he wouldn't. You could have Tom Hardy in sort of an interesting take on Green Goblin.
I could see that.
You know, put him in a different Spider-Man villain role.
I could see that for sure. Do we have a Green? Do we have a Green Goblin at all in Homecoming? There's no Osborns at all.
Yeah, the Osborns are completely taken out of it. It's the Sinister Six is Tom Holland's villain.
There's not gonna be any Osborns ever.
Well, I don't know, but that's who are currently the villains. Is the same ones as the video game.
Gotcha. Norman Osborn's not a bad call there. Interesting. Well, we'll see. There's clearly going to be more of these damn Venom movies.
Poor us. God. Poor us.
I'm not talking about them.
You know, here's what I hope is that if Sony's going to do it, you know, when Marvel started out, Marvel Studios, they weren't making great movies out of the gate. I mean, Iron Man was rad, very good. But then they made Incredible Hulk, and then they made Iron Man 2. You know, you got to remember these details, is that it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows, Infinity Gauntlets.
Right.
For Marvel Studios.
But like Iron Man 2 is so much better than this.
Yeah, I agree. But Robert Downey Jr.
Nicky Rourke playing Ivan Vanko, way better than this.
I agree. This is so bad.
Like, I would rather listen to Ivan Vanko say, I want my bird.
Would lick him up. Oh, I would rather listen to oh god, what's his name? Justin Hammer.
Sam Rockwell?
I would rather listen to Sam Rockwell do anything.
I am excited for Sam Rockwell playing George Bush.
I think that's genius. Also, that's the Academy Award right there for makeup. Just from the previews.
That showed me that Christian Bale could be in this room right now, and I wouldn't know.
Right? Christian Bale portrays bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if Christian Bale was like, I've been your couch for the last 6 months, I'd be like, okay.
Awesome.
And I get it. Like,
Well
that's his whole
done.
thing, is that he gains weight and loses weight to play parts and stuff. That's been his whole thing, like, always.
And he does it.
Yeah, he lost like 65 pounds to play the Machinist, and then turned around and gained 100 back to play Batman in the same year.
Which is awesome.
And that's his whole thing, and that people still get mad at him for that one time he yelled at a light guy. But yeah, that's gonna be the...
Tom Hardy would make an interesting Sandman also.
I don't think Sandman would make an interesting story.
I thought Sandman was super interesting.
We'll see.
I'm just looking at a bunch of villains here. He could be Doctor Doom for all I care.
I just want to watch Fury
care?
Road now. Such a good movie.
He could be the proper Mandarin. Probably people would probably have a problem with that. Bullseye.
Man, if they brought Tom Hardy back as the actual Mandarin, I would make so many memes.
Why?
About just another cheap American knockoff.
I think they could bring Ben Kingsley back as the actual Mandarin and be like, he had a twin. Whatever. Screw it. Moving on.
He was in charge the whole time.
Right. Yeah. He was the one controlling.
I'd be like,
all
oh
these
man, that
killings.
makes so much more sense.
That makes so much. Iron Man 3 actually wasn't that bad.
Ben Kingsley. I mean, Ben Kingsley's an amazing actor. Like, let's not overlook that here. This is the guy that did Gandhi.
Yeah. I mean, even in Spider-Man 3, or not in Spider-Man, Iron Man 3, like, that's a bad movie. But his character, while not very faithful to the comics and sort of a weird turn, he does it extremely well.
Right.
You know, like his little terrorist promo videos are well shot, and his acting as an actor is well done as well.
Did you know that Ben Kingsley starred in a movie, not starred in, but was in a movie called War Machine?
No. Is it about
It is not about War Machine. It is just a regular war movie that I know nothing about. It's got Brad Pitt in
Okay,
it.
I figured it out.
Okay.
Tom Hardy could be and I'm sticking to this one. If you're gonna recast anybody into any role, Tom Hardy can be Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze, the Human Torch?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Well, I know what I want now.
Right? Doesn't that make more sense?
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be excellent. Really?
Ghost Rider's already cast in the MCU. Is the problem, but
Is?
yeah, he's in Agents of Shield.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just telling you.
Whatever.
But yeah, wouldn't that make the most sense?
It could have been so good. Ghost Rider could have been so good. And this is the one situation where I'm like, okay, maybe Nicolas Cage wasn't the best choice.
I like the original Ghost Rider. I'm sure if I revisit it, I won't.
I saw it recently. It was not good.
My memory of it is positive.
But I also really like Nicolas Cage. But, like,
Yeah.
he didn't sell the part at all.
Eva Mendes is in that movie. Young me thought Eva Mendes was Megan Fox, basically.
That's weird because it came out the same year as Transformers.
Did it?
Yeah. On IMDb, do you
Look at
keep
that.
getting
That's
do you keep getting this ad for "Sorry for Your Loss"?
No.
Because I do.
I-
And it's just a giant picture of Elizabeth Olsen.
Well, Elizabeth Olsen is wonderful. I would watch movies just because she's in them. But I only get an ad for The Rookie with Nathan Fillion, which premieres tonight.
But it's just this picture over and over again of her looking sad. I'm trying to send it to you.
Is it the cover art?
Yeah, of her looking sad.
Yeah.
But just as like a half face on the side of the screen.
What are your thoughts on Elizabeth Olsen?
I like her. I'm not crazy about Scarlet Witch, but I think she really does a good job. They were my least favorite part of Infinity War.
Her and Vision?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I got genuinely emotional. Speaking of Infinity War, I actually saw a pretty good, I don't know if it's a theory, maybe it's theory, that Odin, pre-Hela disappearance, the reason he had a gauntlet, the reason he banished Hela was because he was on the path to collecting the Infinity Stones. And it makes sense, because he has 3 of them. Right, he's got the Tesseract, he's got Loki's Scepter, and he's got the Ether. Those are all Odin things.
Right.
And he's got the glove.
Yes.
And he's the All-Father, right? So he can shape reality. And it talks about how nobody in like they get their powers from which one? Not the Tesseract, Loki's Scepter, the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone gives powers because it gives Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver their powers, and it gives Vision his powers. So it's got the power to grant powers, right? And that's where Loki's powers come from, Thor's powers come from, and Odin's powers come from, is the Mind Stone. And that he was on his way to collecting them when he realized that Hela would just use them to destroy everything. So he imprisons her and puts them in the vault and protects them with the Destroyer.
That's a very interesting
And
theory.
that's some phase 1 jank for you.
That's a very interesting theory. Odin's an interesting character in the MCU.
Yeah, I don't think we give him enough credit.
Well, he's dead.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't always dead.
And there was that whole cop-out thing with Odin sleep.
I mean, he's not a cheap actor.
Who, Anthony
Hopkins? Yeah, he's got things to do. When they were making Thor, who's Chris Hemsworth? I mean, who's Natalie Portman, right?
Nope. Natalie Portman was a person.
Yeah, she was already somebody in 2011. Who's Stellan Skarsgård, Kat Dennings? Clark Gray?
What the do you mean who's Stellan Skarsgård?
I'm joking.
Kat Denning, yeah. You could say that about, if there's anybody in the movie, you could say that about.
Stellan Skarsgård has been in some films. Holy crap.
Yeah. Is Anthony Hopkins really that busy, though? Like, how many of those freaking Hannibal Lecter movies have they made? A bunch, but, like, is it recent?
I don't know. He's busy doing Westworld, which obviously was after 2011. In 2011, he was busy. He put out 3 films. That's a lot. And in 2010, he put out 4.
Oh, I did see The Right. That was a wild movie.
Bare Knuckles, You Will Meet a Tall Dark Stranger, The Third Rules, The Wolfman. What are these movies? Does he just do like scary movies?
I think that's Wolfman.
Wolfman.
The Wolfman. Yeah, he plays John Wolfman.
He played Sir John Talbot, actually, but you were close.
He was Hrothgar in Beowulf.
That's another Norse myth, right?
Yeah.
Man, that movie, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was not great.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
It's like half animated.
It was bad. It was very bad.
Ooh, rough. Here, what are we looking at on time?
What do you mean does Anthony Hopkins only do scary movies? Yeah, he was Hannibal Lecter.
So? He was Odin,
He got
the All-Father.
He got a little bit typecast after being Hannibal Lecter.
Whatever, man. Let's do some hash browns.
Okay.
So you asked me to read Good Omens. Am I supposed to have finished that by now? I can't remember if it was this week or
I mean,
next
you got 2 weeks, but you were almost done yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't quite finish it. I have like an hour left, but I think I'm at a point where I can share my thoughts, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, let's just go ahead and do it, and you can just finish it sometime soon.
I have an hour and 3 minutes left. I'm showing you, but obviously nobody else can see.
We'll just finish that and write the blog.
Yeah. So Good Omens is like casual conversations about the end of the world, and it's so good. I'm very happy you asked me to read it.
Yeah.
I've been reading this on your recommendation for a while. It's been my like read until you fall asleep book for a while because it's.
And that's why I almost didn't give it to you, because you expressed the fact that you wanted to do it like that, and so I wasn't gonna like force you to be like, well, I kind of need you to binge this.
Well, I also noted to myself when I was reading the prologue that it is a book that people who like will continue to reread. And I also noticed while reading it that maybe you have a different brain than I do, but this is not the kind of audiobook that I can listen to and like soak in all the details and get lost in the story. Like to me, it seems written very casual, where it's like, well, listen when you want to, don't listen when you don't, but every line's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, that's the thing is, so you can't get lost in the story because it's just details.
Right. It's exactly
and like,
what
it's a really bad way to describe it because it sounds like that would be terrible. Like normally books like that are like that are terrible.
Right. It's not concerned with pushing the narrative in any sort of timely fashion.
No, the narrative's going to happen when it happens. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Is like there's a book of prophecy that is entirely correct.
Right. And where I'm at right now is very interesting, the way that Adam, the Antichrist, is handling the end of the world. And he's having conversations with Metatron.
Oh, that's where you're at?
Yeah. And Beelzebub.
So yeah, you're right there at the end.
Yeah. And I'm curious how he's going to handle it. But again, it's like when you put it on, it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever done this. I used to do this in college a lot when I was studying to go into ministry. I would put on like audiobooks of the Bible. And a lot of times it's just like details on details on details. And you just got to trudge through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like the Sleep With Me podcast, where it's like they're going to start writing and then they're going to get distracted by some tangent. And then they being Neil and Terry.
Right.
And then like, and then we kind of get back to the original story and then we get distracted again. And then, but all those little tangents are funny and they're interesting and it's supposed to be funny. And the narrator for the audiobook is excellent. He talks, he does, I think Death's voice is Jeff Goldblum is what he's going for there, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah. The four bikers of the apocalypse.
Yeah. Hell's actual angels.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing behind it is it's quippy without being like over the top about it.
Oh, I think it's way over the top about it, where it's like,
but not in like a negative way though. It's not like, oh wow, I'm so over this, like that. It's just trying to be funny like this because the narrative isn't what's funny. Like the actual dialogue usually isn't what's funny. It's just the details surrounding it and the way it's told.
Right. It's like Crowley, the sort of agent of hell. Well, of course he has the perfect apartment and he listens to all the good music and his apartment already has double glazing.
Right.
And like stuff
I know
like
the conversation
like,
they're having about like, well, there's not going to be no good music if heaven wins the war for
right.
the end of the world. Because like
nobody dances.
He says, "Oh, you've got Elgar and
right.
somebody else, and we've got everyone."
And it's just silly things like that.
Right.
It definitely reads like a grown-up book.
Yeah.
Like I think a very edgy teenager would enjoy this book, and I think if a teenager told me they liked it, I would be like, shut up, go read Harry Potter,
a very
please.
edgy teenager would get the wrong sort of enjoyment out of this book.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Like this is a book that just kind of came to me at the right time in my life.
Yeah. And I think the rereadability about it is part of what makes it so good, is that like I've missed a lot of details of a lot of jokes, and I think rereading it at the beach or rereading it as I go to bed or whatever is, I would rather, if I'm just reading it to fall asleep or because I'm on the toilet or whatever, I would rather read this than like Harry Potter because I'll just get sucked in.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, it's
easier to set down.
Right. Because it's like vignettes almost, but it's not.
Yeah. It's like Revelation, the Reader's Digest edition.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Finally, I got you something that you enjoyed.
I've actually been dying to give you something that you won't enjoy because you seem to like everything I suggest.
Well, let me tell you what. Not the Fault in Our Stars, the Turtles All the Way Down is a 0.
Get out of
I'm
town.
done with it,
You're
dude.
so wrong
I'm done
about
with it, dude. I finished it finally. It's took me over a year. I'm finally done with it. I had to get the audiobook. That's the only way I was going to power through it. And initially I hated the audiobook, but the end of it, I get it. Understand the audiobook. I think that Kate Rudd did a very good job. I just hate the way she narrated the character.
I hate how she did Davis. That was the only character
I liked Davis. I mean, I don't like Davis. I don't like the like female narrator does a young guy voice where Davis is just like, oh well, I don't really my telescope's not for looking at the ground.
Yeah.
And he just sounds like
the way she does his inflection.
He just sounds dead inside. Like
right. I am curious now that you finished it. There's a few details that I think this book is a very good representation of a lot of the relationships I have. I don't know if that's necessarily from the perspective I have, but I feel like I turn to it to sort of get perspective on you and I's relationship and my wife and I's relationship. And I don't think we're all like perfect characters, but I think that the things that happen to Asa, I relate to.
And that's fair. And that was going to be my point, is that like I can get why that this is an important book for a lot of people. But I had a deep trouble relating to it.
Could you forgive the friend?
Daisy?
Yeah.
For writing about the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I could.
That's unforgivable.
Nah, I get it. Because like they're... At the end of the day, I don't know how long it would have taken me to do it, but like they're very young.
They are very young, and
she started. She even says she starts it like, yeah. So did I. Like I would not. I don't want who I was when I was in 7th grade held against me.
I will say this about the Daisy thing. It's like, yeah, they're very young, and I think it would take time to move past that. But I also feel like this book is part of the reason why I wanted to start doing this segment and why I wanted to start writing the blogs. Was like, if I'm interested in something and I want to talk about that with the people I care about, then I want to do whatever it takes so that we're all on the same page.
And I am glad that I read it, because it is something that's important to you. And I'm not entirely sure that I got it as much as I should have, because again, I had trouble relating to the character. Like I don't know what most of what she's talking about feels like.
Do you recognize that, like, because of this book, were you able to gain any sort of empathy for people with severe anxiety and compulsions?
Yeah, for sure. I just like I guess I've never thought about anything like that, because I'm not a very anxious person. Who is yelling at me? One of my devices is yelling at me, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, is I get anxious about things. Like there's stuff that stresses me out for sure, but it's usually like I have to do a thing that I don't want to do, or have a conversation that I don't want to have, and I'm nervous about the way it's going to go type of anxiety. Thank God I don't suffer from this sort of crippling anxiety that she has, and I feel blessed for that. But it's definitely a very interesting way to write about that sort of thing.
Well, what did you think about the fact that, like, the way she sort of writes off her friends? Like, early in the novel, she talks about, Daisy was this super interesting person, and I played the best friend in her story or whatever. And, she can type on her phone faster than I can type on my computer. And then when it comes back around to Daisy's like, you have a computer. I try as hard as I can to keep up with you.
I related a lot more to Daisy than I did to Asa.
I definitely thought you would.
And we've definitely had those relationships and those conversations.
Right. Like, I felt like that dynamic was something that you and I related to.
Yeah, that was
very well.
That was the thing I was going to bring up next, is that was a shocking parallel to the relationship that we've had.
Right. Is that, like, the way that they think about each other and the way that they sort of process the lives of the other one, that their best friend is so disconnected from the reality of how it is. Yeah.
And they both are. I mean, neither of them are perfect people, and neither of them really gets the other person at the beginning.
Right.
They coexist because they need each other, and they don't understand each other. Like, Daisy doesn't get why Asa is the way she is, and Asa doesn't really think about Daisy.
Asa thinks she has Daisy figured out and doesn't need to think about Daisy.
Right, but she doesn't have anything about Daisy figured out.
Right. She assumes that, I thought it was so interesting when Daisy was like, you didn't know I had a sibling, or you don't know their name or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, how is that possible?
And that's never something I've felt about our relationship.
Well, I think everybody knows my brother's name.
No, but I would be the one that has the sibling in that case, because I'm Daisy.
Well, I will say this though, like, about our youth is, your parents didn't have people over growing up, and you didn't have people over, and that's fine. Like, whatever. Some kids had friends over and some didn't. But like, I didn't know you had a dog until like junior year of high school.
Yeah, and that was just like, I don't know. I wasn't a big sharer of stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah, but I also just didn't ask.
I mean, that's true.
My parents' dogs.
Right.
My dogs. I've never, like, to this day, you have a dog that lives with you. I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen Scout.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we got her like while I was a junior in college.
Right.
And then after that summer, I never came home again.
Right.
Like, I haven't been here much.
Right.
Yep. I mean, she's Scout. She's a handful.
But I don't know. That's just sort of the same thing. Is that like you had a dog throughout most of our childhood that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, I did. I just wasn't. And yeah, I mean, maybe you guys didn't ask as much as you could have, but I also just didn't share things as much as I could have. I don't really even have a particular reason for it. It just never occurs to me to talk about myself like that.
Anyway, I love Turtles All the Way Down.
Yeah, it was all right. It's just like, it's hard to read. It's very hard to read.
It is hard to read.
I think that I get a lot of and I get why it's written the way it is, but I think that if you're going to go for something to expose anxiety and compulsions, I think the gut bacteria thing is a weird way to go about it. That was just so unrelatable for me.
I got it. I got that pretty much immediately.
I mean, I get it, but it didn't do anything for me. Like, it didn't advance the story. I don't think it was the best way to show Aza's problems. Her actual problems.
That's the point, is that it's not supposed to advance the story. It's that, like, the idea behind the book was that like Sherlock Holmes is given all this credit because he's this obsessive person and he uses it to solve mysteries. And my actual biggest complaint with the book is that they do solve the mystery.
It was an extremely unsatisfying ending.
I wanted them to fail.
I wanted them to either fail or for something to happen, but all like her relationship with Davis just kind of dies. Like
Yeah, I thought that was weird the way the Davis thing plays out.
yeah, that whole thing is like he just stops responding. And even then before that,
Yeah.
she's like, I just saw that we were never going to be the way that we used to be back when we were us.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Why is Davis in this story then?
Yeah, I thought it would have been more interesting if, they went to the art show and they get in the sewer and either they figure it out or they don't, but then the next day there's a news story about how like there was an art show in a sewer and while that was happening, a body was discovered. And like it wasn't them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. It wasn't them that found it. It's like somebody else found it.
Right.
They're going to get the reward.
And-
like,
Right.
But that book was already written. It's called Paper Towns.
It's true. Pepper Towns is good.
Yeah, that book was already written by John Green. So like it couldn't have obviously it'd be the polar opposite ending, but it would have been the same ending. It's like Quentin fails in finding Margot.
Right.
Because what he really needed was for Margot to be dead dramatically.
Right.
And she wasn't.
Well, do you want to assign something this week? Now that you didn't like the book, I feel like I need to assign something you will like. See, I was all ready to give you something you wouldn't like.
Did you really think I was going to like the book?
Yeah, I did. I thought there was no world in which you didn't like that.
It's probably not my least favorite John Green book, but it's at least second to last.
Interesting.
Um,
I think what's interesting about it is like I don't think it's my favorite either. Like I definitely probably prefer Paper Towns and the OK one, Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
And I think Catherine's is pretty widely understood to be not the best.
Catherine's is all right.
I just think that like I think in terms of appreciating it and what it does for me, in terms of enjoyment, it definitely doesn't rank with Paper Towns and Fault in Our Stars. But in terms of what it means and even probably like timelessness, I felt like this was more valuable because I think it's got more to offer than just entertainment. I think it gives an interesting and valuable perspective.
Then Paper Towns, I don't think so about The Fault in Our Stars. I think that it is not as important as The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that argument. I don't even know that I disagree with that.
And I just, like I said,
The Fault in Our Stars is an exceptional book.
I had a hard time with I think that there was you could have given Asa a better compulsion.
All right. Well, what is the assignment for next week?
There's just a lot of things you can be worried about in the world, and I think that is a really stupid thing for Asa to be worried about.
Well, it just shows how selfish she is. That's her character.
Right.
She's
a
selfish.
reprehensible person.
Yeah, but it's because of her uncontrollable anxiety.
Right. I don't know. It was hard to work past all that.
What am I doing next week?
I don't know. I didn't even think about it, to tell you the truth. What were you going to give me?
Well, and you may have done this before, but I would severely doubt it. We started watching Once Upon a Time.
I tried.
And I was going to ask you to watch the pilot because I didn't remember it. I had tried it before as well, and I watched it, and I was like, this is completely new to me. Have you tried it?
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes.
It starts off not excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be my thing. I'm willing to do it, but I don't think it's ever going to be my thing.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think it'll ever be my favorite show, and I like bad television.
I did just finish Breaking Bad, which was a weight off my shoulders.
Breaking Bad's tough to watch.
It's a great show, but it is very hard to binge. By the end of 5 seasons, I was like, oh my God.
Just die already.
Seriously. So but I did dive back into Atypical, and that show is delightful.
The show is delightful. Isn't it so good?
I love that show. I find Sam to be alarmingly relatable.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not in I think that I am like him and that that we have similar problems, but everything, I think he asks great questions.
Sam definitely reminds me of me when I was 10.
Because he said something in an episode I was watching today where he was like, girls seem to like it when boys wear a different shirt every day. Why is that? And I was like, that's a great question. That is a great thing to be asking. And then he wants to buy the whale shirt. And I'm like, the whale shirt's rad.
Oh, and everybody's against him buying the whale shirt.
Right, because they're high schoolers. And I get it. I wouldn't have worn that in high school, but I also went to high school in 2009.
Yeah, I think you get away with it now.
Yeah. And I could buy that whale shirt right now. And people are like, that's a rad whale shirt.
Where did you get it?
That is a shirt with, because he's like, and his justification for it is, well, it's 100% cotton, which is my favorite percentage of cotton, and it has more Antarctic whales on it than any shirt I've ever seen. I was like, you can't argue with that logic. That is infallible.
You said everything
logic.
I was thinking, Sam.
I love that show, and I want to thank you for kind of forcing me to watch that, because that's not one I would have just dove into of my own volition.
Well, let's see.
I have
what
no
does
idea
Ethan
what to
need
give
to
you.
watch?
It's got to be a 1 week thing, because I think we only have a week left before the Seamus-odes after this one.
What are we going to talk about next week?
I don't know. Figure it out. Let's see what's on Netflix. El Neto Flixo.
That's what I'm looking
You want to watch season 1 of The Haunting at Hill House?
No. Oh my God. Stop recommending it.
Okay, calm down, buddy. Popular on net. You've seen Black Panther.
Have you revisited Black Panther?
I haven't seen it since theaters, no.
It is good.
Should I make you watch BoJack Horseman?
I have not watched BoJack Horseman, fun fact.
I didn't think you had.
I did watch part of New York Minute this week.
What is that?
As long as we're talking about Olsen's. It's a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie. One of them plays like a teenage rock star, and the other one plays like a future president. And it's not that.
Oh, have you watched Maniac yet?
I have not.
You should watch the first episode of Maniac.
All right, we'll wait until I pick something, and then you can say that.
I don't know if you're going to like it or hate it, but I just think you should.
I mean, I've heard exclusively good things about it.
I've heard good things, but I've also heard, wow, that was a thing.
Is that the new Nick Cage thing?
Huh?
I know it's the new. What's the new Nick Cage thing?
That's the Jonah Hill, Emma Stone thing.
Yeah, I know, but what's the new Nick Cage thing?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Nick Cage.
He was just in a movie that was like very critically acclaimed.
Like a Netflix movie?
No, it was Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why is it called Mandy?
I don't know. I think it's horror.
Oh, good. What?
Tonight Show did a Riverdale parody where they all dressed up as characters from Peanuts.
Nice. Oh, man. Up in the Air. What a great movie.
I know. Nominated for Best Picture.
Was it? Mm-hmm. It's a good movie. What was that movie where it had Morgan Freeman in it and they could curve bullets? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Was it Wanted?
Wanted.
2008, Angelina Jolie,
It
James
was.
McAvoy.
And they like set up a sequel and it never happened.
I never saw the movie. Looks like there are no photos from within this movie.
From what movie?
Wanted? Yeah. I was just looking at the pictures and it was just pictures of the art, like the cover art over and over and over and over again.
I mean, it was bad, but it was like enjoyable. Apparently it had Chris Pratt in it.
Did it really?
It looks like it. It's on this list of Chris Pratt performances we all forgot about.
He played Barry.
Who's Barry?
I don't know. It's his character name.
Oh, in Wanted?
Yep.
Looks like he was a
What?
he was a baseball player in Moneyball.
He looks like a baseball player.
Black dress.
That's it right there.
Why is Don't Trust Me playing off your phone?
Because it's just part of my recently downloaded.
You have a thing for me?
I'm trying. Can't find freaking anything. You know what I've determined, Edge Hill?
What?
I have nothing.
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 Nothing you want me to watch.
I need you to listen to the Chemical Workers song by Great Big Sea.
One song. Okay.
Yep.
Not making it easy for me to write these blogs, but okay.
You just gotta. I mean, here's what you gotta do. You gotta either do that or you gotta finish the story mode in Spider-Man PS4.
We already reviewed Spider-Man PS4.
I already reviewed Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, but I don't need to also review Spider-Man PS4 for the blog. I also just don't know if I'll have time for that.
Yeah, it's not short.
Yeah. I mean, I can listen to a song.
You gotta listen to this song. You gotta write a blog about it. You gotta, you just gotta exist. And it like here's the thing, Ethan, is when it comes to writing the blog, you can't overthink it. I just need something raw. It doesn't necessarily need to be a review. It just needs to be a story or a narrative spawned from the content I ask you to consume.
Okay. I can do that. I also need another punishment. I know I haven't done the Hoodie Allen one yet. I'm going to, I promise. But I need another punishment because I lost the Venom bet.
I don't know. You gotta write a review of a New York Minute.
What is that?
It's a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie.
Oh my God.
That or you have to write a review of Fantastic.
Okay.
But you have to watch it.
Okay.
You gotta watch it. You gotta sit through the whole thing.
Okay. We'll see. I'll pick one of those because I did lose the Venom bet. Venom ended up under 35%.
I knew it too. Originally when we talked about the bet, I almost said 30, and I was like, you know what? I can see this going in the 31 to 33
I was like, there's no way a Marvel movie in 2018 is going to be that bad.
You're wrong.
I know.
It's bad. It's really not good.
God, it wasn't really not good. We're back on Venom.
You know what I found interesting? We talked a lot about Venom.
I know. We always do this. And the movie's terrible. We just rip on it the whole time. Oh, it was so bad though. Like, oh my God. It was painful. It just put me in a bad mood. Like it
put me in a
ruined
terrible
my
mood.
day.
We went outside and it was daylight, and I was like, this sucks because now I have to do the rest of my day having just watched Venom.
Right. It wasn't even like it's 11 p.m. and you could just go home and go to bed. Like we saw it at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Ugh. Venom. I'm offended.
I am offended. Get your together, Sony. This isn't okay. You can't just put out a movie like this and charge people like $12 a ticket or whatever it costs where you are. I hear you already, listener. I go to the matinees on Tuesdays. They're $6. So whatever. Shut up. I don't care. Whatever. How dare you, Sony, take my hard-earned money and sit me through this crap?
Yeah, heck you, Sony.
Fleischer? What's your name? Fleischer? What's his name?
I don't know.
What's his name? Ruben Fleischer. You don't have a Twitter account. there is a Twitter account that says the Ruben Fleischer, but it's only retweeted something a few years back. And this picture of this guy looks pretty thin. And that guy's Avi on Twitter doesn't look anything like this. So I don't think it's you. Anyway, Ruben, I'm talking to you. Come defend your film. You made Zombieland. People love Zombieland.
Oh, I love Zombieland.
People love Zombieland, okay?
Yeah, but he also made Gangster Squad and 30 Minutes or Less.
Yeah, he
Gangster
did.
Squad would have been good if it didn't come out the exact same year as American Hustle.
Gangster Squad. That was a movie that started and somebody got ripped in half, and I was like, well, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
I cut it off right then and there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Listen,
Oh, but it had
Ruben,
Ryan Gosling in it.
Ryan Gosling's amazing.
I just don't get
Okay.
it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the hype.
Yeah, you gotta watch Blue Valentine. Anyway, Ruben, I wanted my money back for seeing this crappy movie. And I want you to come on our show so you can spend 2 hours talking to me and getting your word out to not that many people. Because you know what? That's what you owe me, Ruben. That's what you owe me.
We should just not see
I
this
looked
movie.
for your
Like,
contact.
I knew my instincts were right when I said to not review this movie.
You know, there was a lot of hype, and the fans gave it an 88%, and the audience and the critics gave it a 31. And I was like, okay, this is a defining moment. Who do you side with? Who do you agree with? And you know what? One of the people who commented on our post said, and I quote, let me pull up the quote for you.
Speaking of Ryan Gosling, we should just go to see First Man.
This person says, I like you, Tyler, but I do not agree at all with this. I thought it was a slow start, but an excellent middle and end with moderately good CGI. Moderately good CGI is not acceptable. It's 2018. You have $100 million. I expect quality CGI.
Yeah.
Not moderately good.
$100 million.
And this one, quote, nowadays people act like it's not okay to enjoy the things you like if they are not good. Okay, you can enjoy whatever the crap you want. That's fine. I don't care. If you enjoyed this movie...
But if it's not good, you got to be willing to defend it. Like, I'm sorry.
Right, la-di-da, but this movie's bad. Like, there are standards by which we compare these movies to. And when you take on the role of being a critic or defending film, you do so on a platform with a rubric. You don't just go in blindly, oh, this was good because I enjoyed it, or this is bad because I didn't enjoy it. It's bad for reasons. It's bad because the narrative is bad and uninteresting. Anyway, not okay. It's popular to like the things that are, quote, high quality, and very popular to bash the things that are not. That's for a reason. High quality things get high praise because they're good.
You sound like Rhett on that episode where he bashed Miranda Sings for not liking bacon.
I didn't watch that episode. But
But that's what you sound like right now, is that you took a random Instagram comment and now you're just like, you don't like bacon? What do you mean you don't like bacon?
like, I get it. I get like why the pop music industry has, or did for a long time, it was so corporate and so obviously fake that, like, I understand that people think that because something's popular it's not high quality, but like
That's still mostly
high
the
quality
case.
things, right?
For
It is
music,
still
at
mostly the
least.
case, but even still, like, and you can even tell, like, when Miley Cyrus puts out an acoustic album, it's like, holy crap, this person's actually amazingly talented. Anyway, it's okay if it's done as normal criticism when the goal is just to explain your point of view and opinions on stuff. The problem with this is it makes many people feel bad about liking stuff that are not the best. Venom was a lighthearted, funny, and cute movie. No, it wasn't.
It was not cute. It was not
It
lighthearted.
wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. Lighthearted. The dude bit people's heads off. It wasn't funny. The jokes, like, didn't land. They were poorly timed. They didn't make me laugh.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was just a bad movie.
They were cheap jokes, cheap humor.
The only thing that's scary about it was how terrible it is.
Yeah, it really is bad. And then this comment goes on to defend the animators. I didn't think the animators deserved much defense. The animation didn't look that good.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It was just okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it took me out of it at times. I was like, okay, we're watching a movie and that is from a video game. Okay. You know, like, I know the technology exists. Abomination looked better than this. That was 10 years ago. I don't know what kind of budget that had. Probably not this much, though.
I have no idea.
Oh, it did have more. 150. This actually really did have a tiny budget for a superhero film.
Well, I mean, there's only like 3 people in it.
That's true. Who's the girl? Am I supposed to know who
Michelle
that is?
Williams.
She's somebody, right?
Yeah.
She's in The Greatest Showman. That's what I know her from. She's in Blue Valentine. What do you know?
She's like a real actress. We went to high school with someone named Michelle Williams.
We did. This is not
I know
her.
it's not her, but that's all. The person is all I can think of anytime I hear this name.
She's the lead female in Blue Valentine. I knew her from something excellent.
Yeah, she's in a bunch of stuff. She played Marilyn Monroe.
She could knock that out.
She was on Dawson's Creek.
She's in a lot of good stuff. Blue Valentine, Brokeback Mountain, Manchester by the Sea.
You've seen
Shutter
either of
Island.
those 2 movies?
I think I've seen Brokeback Mountain.
I know you haven't seen Manchester by the Sea.
I thought about watching Manchester by the Sea, and I was given the opportunity to watch it.
That was
many
2016?
times. Yeah, 2 years ago.
There's no way.
I know. I thought it was.
That
last
came out
year.
like 6 months ago.
No. Prozac Nation.
I guess it's
Classic.
because we were talking about like Oscar season last year.
Yeah.
Well, that's a thing that happened. Venom is a thing that happened.
God. It ruined my day.
After we just got done watching all the Toy Story movies, which are delightful.
Those so good. So good.
You watch Toy Story 3 and you go watch Venom afterward, you're going to be convinced that Toy Story 3 is just like the greatest movie ever made and there are no competitors.
Toy Story 3 is very good. while we're on that topic.
Yeah, it's
You'll hear our full
not the
thoughts
greatest
soon.
movie ever made.
No, but it's very,
It's very good. It really is. It's a lot better than Venom. Well, so let's we did it again, man. We started off the year with the second week is just like the bottom of the list.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk peaked at number 2.
Number
Venom
2
will
from the
also
bottom.
peak at number. Yeah.
Oh, peaked at number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Right. Venom will also peak at number 2 and then be slowly demolished down to what I imagine will end up as number 52.
Depending on how many films we review.
It'll be at least 52. We'd have to search to watch a movie worse than this. Like, intentionally search.
We could watch Fan Forstic.
We could watch a Serbian film. Like, there are options available.
Yeah, we could do some, was it Bollywood? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, or just some straight up, like, gore.
Oh, gosh. You're talking about a film I wouldn't
Watch,
enjoy.
like, snuff films.
Yeah, watch, like, Human Centipede.
If you really want to put something lower on the list, I could find you some movies.
We could do the rest of the Pirates series. I bet one of those would be lower.
No way.
We could do the rest of the Transformers series.
Those have got to be better.
I don't know, man.
We could do The Room.
We could do The Room, but that honestly would have like a so bad it's good quality to it.
No, it doesn't. People that like The Room are wrong, okay? I don't know if you've seen it or not. I know you've seen Disaster Artist, but I don't know if you've actually seen The Room. It's that bad. It really just is. It makes no sense. Anyway, so we ranked it. How does Riot rank as a villain?
Bad.
Worse than Megatron?
Yes, Megatron's awesome.
Okay, I'm just making sure. What is the breakfast food for this movie?
God, sour milk.
It's just a turd in the wind.
There you go. It's a turd in the wind. A pancreas.
A pancreas.
Liver. Chopped liver.
God, it was so bad. Don't watch this movie. I'm sorry,
Don't spend
anybody
your
that
money on
enjoyed it and that we're just offending right now, but like,
I'm not
I
sorry.
hated this movie. I would have
I
left.
absolutely
If
hated
we had
this.
not been seeing this for the show, I would have left before Venom even came on screen.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing is like Venom wasn't on screen for like the first hour.
Yeah, you looked at me and you're like, how long has this movie been going on? And I said to you, either 15 minutes or 2 hours. There's no in between.
Yeah. Oh.
It's that bad.
It's like this whole time that you're waiting for Venom to get on screen, and then you're gonna have there he is. There's the interesting character.
Nope.
Oh no, wait, he's awful. He's uninteresting, and he talks like a 6-year-old.
Oh, my eyes are itchy. While you're saying that, my eyes were just like dying. I'm better.
Well,
I got better.
I got better.
I don't have anything else to say about it.
I can't believe we've given it as much time as we have. Exciting news for people who want to watch films we've reviewed on this show. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is on Netflix.
It is. So is Black Panther. So is Thor Ragnarok.
So is Guardians of the Galaxy
So
Volume
is
2,
Pirates of the
which is not
Caribbean.
super good. Pirates of the Caribbean. There's a good number of
Yeah,
them. So if you've
they're
been
slowly
waiting,
coming back around to having good movies on Netflix again.
yeah, which is exciting.
Shining is on Netflix.
I should probably watch that.
It's a good movie. Beautiful Mind is on Netflix. A Breakfast Club is on Netflix. The Last Jedi is on Netflix. Coco's on Netflix.
Oh, Coco, you want to talk
The
about
Life of
amazing
Brian's
film.
on Netflix. Shrek is on Netflix. What else? None of these movies. The King's Speech.
There's a bunch of
Bunch
stuff.
of
Is what we're
yep.
trying to say.
Go watch stuff on Netflix. Yeah. All right, lead us out.
Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi, Netflix.
Neat.
Who knew?
The people at Netflix knew.
They did. Tyler might watch this movie today. Yeah, I mean, thank you for listening to the show. You know, we do this for the yokes. We do this for you. And if you love us, if you enjoy the show, you can go patreon.com/baconandegg. You want to talk to us whenever you want, like immediate responses all the time. Check us out on Discord. It's like a $5 perk on Patreon. That $5 goes towards making this show a reality so we can continue to bring you excellent content. It really makes a difference. It absolutely 100% does. And if you feel like you're getting value from this show, you know, cost you maybe $6 to drive to work in gas. You listen to the show during those 60 miles. Consider dropping us a line. It would not hurt us. I can tell you that much. I can tell you that much. If you feel like you get value from us, we would appreciate value in return. But definitely not a requirement. The show's going to be free and available forever as long as we're able to do it. What else, Ethan?
I don't know. Everything is down below in the description. All of our information. You can buy stuff. You can support us. You can support our graphic designer. You can support our artist, our musical artist. You can support everyone by clicking links.
Yeah.
They're all there. Don't
are
support this
indeed
movie.
all there.
Give us the $7 you were going to spend to see this movie at a matinee.
Yeah, you can just do like a 1-month pledge. Boom. There you go.
That's the only time I'll ever say this. Like, this movie is not worth watching.
It really isn't. Like, literally do not spend your money on this. And I get, like, listen, I don't think you could make an argument that would even a little bit change my mind about this movie.
No. I mean, I'm willing to hear them, but I don't know if it exists. It was a miserable experience.
Like, I think there's a better case to be made for Deadpool 2 than for
Oh,
this.
absolutely. This made Deadpool 2 look amazing.
Yeah, Deadpool 2 at least had a narrative.
Yeah, I could follow the story.
Right, it just had
I
bad
laughed a
jokes.
couple times.
Well, and then the post-credit scene ruined the whole movie.
Puss-Kedits?
Post-credits.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's get this bread.
Wow, now.
Let's get this bread.
Indigo League of Pokemon is on Netflix. What on earth are we doing this show for?
When we could be watching Pokemon. A little bit of Pokemans.
A little bit of Pokemon. Anyway. Anyway, question of the day. Who's your favorite Pokemon? Be sure to tweet us at Baconandeggs23. I've been Tyler Carlin. He's been Ethan Edgehill. And I don't know. We'll see you next week. No Sunday brunch this week, I don't think.
Nope, probably not.
And next week, we're talking about another movie. Be sure to tweet us your favorite Pokemon and what movies you'd like for us to review next week. We might not listen. We might also listen. Who knows?
Yeah, fair enough. Until next week, I've been Ethan Edgehill, and he's been Tyler Carlin. And until next week, Arrivederci.
Are you going to eat anybody else?